The LA Wildcats lost their first game 37-17 to Houston. And I got a lot of things to talk about the LA Wildcats. First of all the teams that lost this past weekend are going to be fine. The XFL has a lot of parity. I think the worst team that lost is probably Seattle. They're the most screwed of any team to lose. Dallas didn't have their starting quarterback. The Tampa Bay Vipers were 0 for 4 in the red zone. They had many opportunities. They blew it, but the Vipers are still a good football team. And the LA Wildcats didn't have their starting quarterback, Josh Johnson, playing in this game. He was hurt. He should be back. But as a result, LA had a quarterback named Charles Knopf playing quarterback. And he literally had just gotten to LA. I felt pretty bad for him. He'd only had 5 practices with the Wildcats before he was thrown into the starting role. And he did as good as he could. He was 21 for 40 passing at 214 yards, 1 touchdown, had an interception. Charles Knopf, man, he had some moments I went, wow, he's doing great stuff. He's fighting hard. In the end, the lack of preparation caught up to him. But it was just unfortunate because he seems like a good dude. I really liked his attitude, his energy, his effort. He did a great job, made some throws where he was getting hit as he threw. He stepped up, took the hit. I was like, man, Charles Knopf, credit to him. He's not well prepared. He was still learning the offense. It was pretty clear. But he really did a good job working with what he could, did the best he could. And it's just a scrappy quarterback. It was kind of weird. At the end, LA benched him for a couple drives. And I was like, what are you doing? This guy is really taking you the whole game. And so he had a good start. Charles Knopf really tailed off at the end. He's not the long-term answer at quarterback for LA. But I really, really was impressed with just the effort he gave. He did the very best he could in a really bad, really hard situation to succeed. He did better than I thought he would have. And just props to him. It was fun to watch. Now, I got to say, I'm a big believer in Winston Moss. Winston Moss is the head coach in LA. I know some people who know him. They love him. They speak really highly of him. They believe in him. So because it's them, I trust their judgment. Because they believe in him, I believe in him too. And, LA lost, but they had a backup quarterback playing. And so I don't think you can hold this loss against LA. I don't think you should hold this loss against the head coach. I think Winston Moss is still a great head coach. And I love Winston Moss's offensive coordinator, Norm Chow. I don't know how I missed this fact, but somehow I had no idea that Norm Chow is the offensive coordinator in LA. He's a great offensive coordinator. He coached Matt Leinart. He coached Carson Palmer, got them Heisman trophies. He coached Ty Detmer at BYU, got him a Heisman trophy. So he coached at USC, BYU. He coached Steve Young. He coached Jim McMahon. The dude is a legend, and I really, really respect Norm Chow. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL, in football, period. And he's just a kind of a football legend. Now, the interesting part, so I love the offensive coordinator. I love the head coach. Interestingly enough, the Wildcats fired their defensive coordinator, Pepper Johnson, right after game number 1. Said, hey, bam, you're out. Then they also released Anthony Johnson. I don't think they're related, but Anthony Johnson was a shock to me because he was a captain. And he was a huge part of the team's marketing campaign and social media presence. Anthony Johnson has been released from the LA Wildcats. He's a former LSU standout. He was a captain on the team. And it was just very interesting. I went, wow, they made significant changes to their defense after one game. Anthony Johnson, you're out. Pepper Johnson, you're also out. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I've got a lot of hope for LA, but it will be interesting to see what LA's defense does moving forward. What kind of adjustments do they make? They do have a defensive-minded head coach, Winston Moss. How's LA going to do without those two people they just fired and got rid of moving forward? Is it going to be good for them? Is it going to be bad for them? I don't know. But I do have a lot of hope, and I think LA is going to be okay. I love their head coach, Winston Moss. I love their offensive coordinator, Norm Chow. They're getting their starting quarterback, Josh Johnson, back. They have a great receiver, Nelson Spruce. He had 11 catches for 103 yards this past weekend. I wouldn't give up on LA just yet. They're a good football team. They're better than their record shows at 0-1. And I feel really good about their franchise moving forward.